This is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'll be showing you how to crochet our candy cane lane mosaic blanket. The yarn that I'm using is Premier Basix worsted weight yarn in white and Premier Basix Shimmer in the color Peppermint Shimmer. You'll need two hook sizes for this pattern, a 5.5 millimeter and a 4.5 millimeter, and these are streamline metal hooks from Furls Crochet, and this is the matte blush color. So our candy cane lane blanket has 3 different charts that you're going to be following along to create the pattern. It's going to start out with this chart. So we're going to work through it as a sample, but follow along with your pattern. We have the written directions as well as the chart that you can follow along with. So as you can see, the blanket starts with this pattern, and then we go into our candy cane. It's going in this direction. We have another sort of border section, and then we have candy canes that are going the other way. So you have the chart for this pattern, you have the chart for the candy cane in this direction, and the chart for the candy cane in this direction. And this is a fairly easy pattern, mosaic pattern to work through. So if you are a beginner, this one is a little bit more doable than some of our patterns. So if we look at the chart, I have my colors on the side. So if we're working with color A, which is white, or color B, which is going to be our peppermint, I believe it's called peppermint. Yes, peppermint shimmer is going to be color B. So we're going to start out, I'm not going to make a very big swatch. The repeat on this particular pattern is only 4 stitches. So I will probably go with 4. So let's do 10 because we start and end and the pattern is in the middle. So the actual stitch repeat will be, we'll do 8 stitches, but then we need 1 at the beginning and 1 stitch at the end. So we're gonna go with chaining out a total of 11 so that we have 10 stitches. But follow along with the pattern. So you're chaining out, for the blanket, you will be chaining out 163 and working across 162 stitches, but just follow along with the pattern for your exact stitch counts. So we're going to begin with our larger hook, which is the 5.5, and I'm going to chain out 11. We'll single crochet in the back hump or the back leg of the chain. So I'm going in the second chain from the hook and in each chain across. So we're going to work that in single crochets. Okay, so you can see this first row, we're working all single crochets. And at the end of the row, we're going to cut because this is overlay mosaic. So we're working everything on the right side of the blanket, where if you're doing inset, you're crocheting back across. So we're going to cut. I like to chain 1 just to kind of secure this tail a little bit more, especially if you're not weaving those tails. You want to make sure that they are secured. You can crochet the double border and hide all your tails, or you can choose to weave in the tails like we did. Okay, so what we're going to do next is put a slip knot on our hook. We're going to be joining in. You can chain 1 just to, again, make that a nice little knot. We're going to single crochet in the first stitch. You can see on our chart that we're single crocheting in the first and the last stitch. So now we're going to single crochet through the back loop only. So as you look across this row, you see white boxes. You're just going to ignore them. We're just looking at whether we have an X or whether we have a blank box. So for the blank boxes without X's, you're single crocheting in the back loop only. When you see an X, we're going to do a mosaic double crochet. So I will show you how to do those on the next row. But for this row, we're just working single crochets through the back loop. So we're going to work single crochets to the back loop, and then in the last stitch though, we'll do a full single crochet just to make it a little bit more secure, and then we'll chain one and we can trim. Okay, so now we're going back to white again. So again, if you look at the chart, A, B, A, B, we're just alternating colors as we go. So put a slip knot on our hook and chain one, and that's just, and give your tail a tug so that it makes a nice knot. The first stitch, we're going to single crochet. We're always single crocheting to get that started. Okay, then let's look at what we have. So single crochet, and then we have 1, 2, 3 single crochet in the back loop only, and then we'll do the mosaic double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do the mosaic double crochet. So it's a double crochet, but we're working into the front loop 2 rows below. There's 1, 2, sometimes you can see this loop is right in a line with this single crochet stitch. So it's going to be the next loop. So we're going to yarn over, push your hook through that loop that's available, and make your mosaic double crochet. So this is how you can see the white comes down and it's covering this row. So you don't have to actually change the color. You're just going to cover up the color below so that we're going to get the pattern that we want to create. Now you can see again that this is the repeat, and we're just going to repeat this section again in multiple times across the blanket. Okay, so this is the repeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So each repeat ends with that mosaic double, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see it's a pretty basic pattern, really easy to memorize. And then we don't end here, we end with a single crochet, just so the beginning and end of our blanket are the same. So 1, 2, 3, then a mosaic double, and then we're going to do that single crochet in the last stitch, chain 1, and we can trim and keep the tails pretty short because you'll want to trim them down to go inside your border if you choose that method. It is a lot of tails to weave, so if you want to weave the tails and do the little fun border like we did, you can sit and weave all those tails in if you want. So for row 4, we're going to have some more mosaic double crochets happening. So let's get the slip knot on our hook, chain 1, and give that tail a tug so that it gives it a nice knot. So we'll single crochet in that first stitch to get started. We're going to do mosaic double, single crochet back loop only, mosaic double, single crochet back loop only, and we're alternating that this time. So come down 2 rows below to that loop, working the double crochet, single crochet back loop, mosaic double, and then single crochet back loop. So we know that this back loop is going above this mosaic double here. And then we have 3 loops and we're going to alternate. So we've got mosaic double, single crochet back loop, mosaic double, single crochet back loop, and end with a single crochet. Chain 1 and trim, and also it's always good to give that a tug as well on this side so that it's giving it a nice good knot. Put a slip knot on our hook, and we're going to start out with that single crochet in the first stitch. Then we have single crochet back loop only. Then a mosaic double crochet, and you can see we have this loop right down here. So we know we're lining things up correctly. And then 1, 2, 3 in the back loop. And then our mosaic double, which we can see here, it lines up. So we would be coming to the end here, so we would do 2 in the back loop and then a single crochet. Or if we look here to 10, it would be 2 in the back loop and then a single crochet. But if you were to continue going across the blanket, you're going to, this is why we make the chart a little bit wider so you can kind of see as you work. You'll do 3 a mosaic double, 3 a mosaic double, but then you do end a little bit different, and we're just doing a short piece. So we're just having 2 here and then the single. So you can kind of see how it starts, you can see how it ends, and you can see how it's repeating throughout the blanket. Chain 1. Give this a tug. Let's do another row. Once you get the hang of how you do it, it's just really following the chart, your stitch counts, and it's so much easier than it looks to do this type of technique. Chain 1, we'll knot that up. So 6 is going to be a single crochet in the first, 1, 2, 3, and then a mosaic double. So 1, 2, 3, and then the mosaic double is going to, if you look at this, here is a mosaic double, it's coming in the middle of those. I always like to make sure that I'm going into the right stitches, that the pattern is lining up the way it should. That's where I think people struggle most. If you get off one stitch, then all of a sudden the pattern isn't looking correct. So if you look at the chart and kind of see how everything goes, make sure it's looking the same on here. So the pink makes this shape, so I'm making this shape. Then I do 1, 2, 3 again, and a mosaic double. One, 2, 3, and then a single crochet, chain 1, and we'll just trim this, give this a tug. Let's go through another row just so you really have a good handle on it. Put a slip knot, chain 1, single crochet, and then we are repeating that mosaic double, single crochet back loop, mosaic double, single crochet back loop. Single crochet back loop, and we're making this shape. which again, when you're really focusing on the shape, you know exactly where to put your hook into what stitches, and it is a really easy pattern to memorize. So you're going to find it a great pattern to work through. So now we'll single crochet in the last, chain 1, and fasten off. Okay, so that's all I'm going to show you for the technique. I think that goes through enough rows so that you're getting comfortable with how the pattern works. And again, there's different charts, so it's going to, obviously we'll be making a candy cane for some of them, but just follow along with the pattern and the charts provided, and you will have no problems at all with this pattern. We'll meet up next for the border. So once you finish the blanket, we're going to be doing a border. And I like to join up at the corner. So I'm going to start along the side. We'll be chaining 2 at the corners, and we're going to be slip stitching the first round. It's just going to give us a nice clean edge. So we'll be working with the 5.5 millimeter for the slip stitch edge so that our stitches aren't too tight. You want to make sure you keep them nice and loose. And I'm just going to slip stitch to give that a bit of a knot. And then we're going to start slip stitching. Like I say, keep your slip stitches loose. We're going to be doing 1 slip stitch per row. And at our corners, we'll be chaining 2 just to make that corner and get worked around. Because we're alternating rows between white and shimmer, it's really easy to identify them. So now we took all of our tails and we wove the tails into this blanket. This is optional, so we're giving you 2 options in the blanket. You can do a double border and not weave in any tails. You will be sandwiching those tails between your border, and what you'll do is follow, I have another tutorial, I have several tutorials actually showing that double border method. So we will link the double border method if you prefer not to weave your tails. We did want to show this as another option because I do know that some people like to weave in the tails. It is a time-consuming project. My mother went and wove all of these tails in for us, and I would say it probably took her about 10 hours, just as a rough estimate, if that's something that you want to do. But if you prefer not to weave in the tails, then go follow the double border method. It starts out the same way, so we are, even if we have the tails here, we will be slip stitching around the blanket in this same manner. The only thing is when you're doing a double border, you do need to work into the back leg. So you really do need to make sure that these slip stitches are loose as you work them to make it easier to work into that back leg. But with this border that we're going to be doing, we just need to work into the back loop of our slip stitch. So I'm going to continue working this around, and like I say, at your corners you're just going to chain 2 and then work a slip stitch per stitch along the bottom and the top, and the sides are 1 per row. Okay, so I'm making my way back around. One more stitch here, and then we will chain 2 and slip stitch in the back loop of the first slip stitch to join. So we're going to chain 1. I'm going to change over to the smaller hook now. So this is the 4.5. So I've chained 1. We're working now with the 4.5 millimeter hook, and we're going to half double crochet in the back loop only of the slip stitches around. I know with this yarn it is hard to see, but you're just doing a regular half double crochet and you're just going through the back loop of the stitch. Okay, so once you work down to your chain 2 space, we're going to put 3 half double crochets in that space. And then you can use a stitch marker if you want to mark that center half double crochet, because as you do more rounds, you're always going to be adding 3 half double in your marked stitch, and that's going to make a nice rounded corner. And you can do as many rounds as you want to get the thickness of border that you prefer. So you can just move this marker as you go. So when you come back around, add 3 half double crochets and then place the marker into the center stitch again. So you're going to do this at each corner. Continue to work around. Once you get back up to the top, you'll work your 3 half doubles in the chain 2, and then you'll just slip stitch in the starting half double crochet to join, and then chain 1, continue around. So you can follow the written directions for that. So we're going to continue working this up off camera, and then we'll meet you up for the picot stitch edging. Okay, so I started doing the picot edge, and we did 2 rounds of the half double crochet, but you could always do more if you want. So to do this edge, what you're doing is we'll be skipping a stitch. We single crochet. So in the first stitch, we already started this row. You're going to single crochet, chain 3, single crochet in the same stitch. We're going to skip the next stitch, single, chain 3, single crochet, all in the same stitch, skip a stitch, single, chain 3, single. You could finish your border off just plain if you prefer, but this just gives it a little bit of a fancy edge to finish off the blanket. I'm going to continue working this around. We can slip stitch to join at the end, fasten off, and weave in any other tails that you may have.